Inexplicable things are happening all around us. Often we cannot explain even what we see with our own eyes. It is good when your hand automatically reaches for your phone. Then we get video evidence of the most unusual events that happened in reality. Today on the Top Facts channel, we will show you a very interesting selection that will definitely amaze you. Enjoy your viewing. A man looked out of the window of his room. His gaze automatically registered that there was a white car in the parking lot. But literally a second later, he moved to another room, which was located on the right, and looked out of the window again. It overlooked the same yard, but to his surprise, from a similar angle, the parking lot was empty. The car was no longer there. Viewers on the internet immediately accused him of deception. They suspected that he had moved to a room that was to the left of the parking lot. And if he had pointed the camera to the right, the back of the car would have been in the frame again. But the video showed two different angles, and it was precisely this contradiction that gave the clip a chance to spark further discussions. This video was shot in the resort town of Destin in Northwest Florida, and it also raises questions. At first glance, it is just a pelican, but if you look closer, it seems as if its feathers are too transparent. It really is translucent. If you have ever overlaid two videos, even in the simplest editor, you will understand that one of the layers can be made more transparent. But here, everything seems to be in its place. So, what is the secret? Maybe you can explain. At first glance, everything in this episode looks normal. A fan was filming his favorite player from the national team of Jersey celebrating a victory. The player ran across the field with his arms triumphantly raised. But if you carefully watch the replay of the video, something strange catches your eye. On his jersey, the number 18 was clearly visible at first, and a few seconds later, the number 21 appeared in the same place. How could this have happened? The game was not interrupted, and we understand that all this happened in a matter of seconds. There was no player substitution or any other tricks here. The person is just running, and the number on his uniform changes by itself. Now we will reveal the secret of how some glitch effects are made. Let me try to explain. While cleaning an aquarium, a man noticed something strange. He drained the water, but the fish did not end up at the bottom with it, but remained near the surface, calmly swimming as if nothing had changed. It seemed as if the aquarium was still full. How could it swim through the air if there was almost no water left? The video confused many viewers, but here comes a possible explanation. There were two aquariums placed close together, and due to the lighting and angle, this separation is not visible. In the tank that was behind, the water was indeed drained. We can see the chain moving, and in the front one, the water remained. So for the fish, nothing new happened. It is a simple optical illusion. While driving through the fog, the driver nevertheless noticed something unusual by the roadside near a lone tree. One branch seemed to be hanging in the air separately from the tree. It was no longer attached to it, but it was not touching the ground either. When the car slowed down, the branch slowly rotated in the air by itself. But as soon as the observer drove past and looked back, the movement stopped completely. The strange thing is that the branch turned out to be where it shouldn't have been. Have you ever seen objects suspended in the air that moved without any visible reason? Or will you say that he imagined it? This might make you think about how well we know the laws of physics, and whether all of them have been discovered yet. In the kitchen, a family was cleaning up the dishes. Everything was going as usual, until a fork got stuck in a bowl in the most incredible way. Only the end of its handle was touching the dish, and the rest of it seemed to be floating in the air. Witnesses immediately recorded this strange effect and posted the video online. However, neither the authors of the video nor the viewers knew what had happened there. Was it a paranormal phenomenon, a glitch in the Matrix, or just a trick with a fishing line? Another object suspended in the air. On a clear afternoon, a man stopped at a red light and looked up. he immediately noticed something inexplicable in the sky. A helicopter was directly above the car, but its blades were completely motionless. It seemed to hover in the air, but it continued to shift relative to objects on the ground. That is, it was moving. But how is that possible with a non-functioning rotor? After a few seconds, the blades did slowly begin to rotate, but too sluggishly to correspond to normal operation. And this absolutely did not match the helicopter's stable position in the air. We all understand that without the movement of the rotor, the machine cannot fly. It would fall immediately. Who can explain this phenomenon? Did anyone figure it out? A man was filming the ocean when something incredible appeared above the water. Clear outlines of buildings manifested in the sky. They seemed to float above the horizon and were located right on the clouds. The contours did not move or disappear, and the longer the filming lasted, the more unnatural the scene became. Such moments try to break your psyche. When your reality does not load properly, you have to come to terms with a state of affairs that seems completely out of place, or try to explain them from a scientific point of view. Has anything like this ever happened to you in your life? And here is a very recent story. On the 7th of January 2026, tourists were filming the wall of a canyon in Colorado. Suddenly, they noticed something that shouldn't have been there. A structure resembling a massive golden door was embedded in the vertical cliff of the Black Canyon. One of the commentators claimed that it belonged to a secret ritual cult, asserting that the door was used to drop something into the forest below the cliff. Other viewers suggested that it might have been built for the elite of ancient local tribes, and the stairs or access paths had long been destroyed or eroded. What do you think about this? I dare to add that the door looks quite new. Only if it was made of pure gold, it could continue to shine brightly even hundreds of years later. This video captures some object that flew into our orbit and crashed to Earth, but no one knows what it really was. At first, only a small sphere of white light was visible in the distance. It seemed to be approaching the ground because the object became larger and brighter. Finally, the sphere fell to the ground in the distance, and then a dazzling flash of light illuminated the entire sky, as if something massive had exploded. After that, darkness returned, and no one ever shed light on this incident. If you have any thoughts, share them in the comments below. During an Arctic expedition, a group of researchers noticed something strange shimmering in the ice. They dug out a spiral-shaped object from the permafrost, from which emanated a bright and rhythmic purple light. Its flickering was like a digital glitch when a screen flashes. This object or organism was located in the middle of the void in perfect solitude. The spiral continued to pulsate by itself, standing out sharply against the background of the white snowy desert. It was less like an object of natural origin, rather resembling an active device, but we know nothing more about it. Maybe you know?
It's not a rock.
No one could explain what happened in this eerie video footage. A couple was getting off a motorcycle when suddenly something pulled the girl down. She tried to resist, but an invisible force unnaturally dragged her along the ground. Even when the guy tried to pull his girlfriend back, he could not free her from the death grip of an unknown origin. Although he held on tight, despite all his efforts, an unknown entity abducted her. It's a pity we didn't see how it all ended, but I don't think you'll say that computer effects were used here. Sitting in his car, a man noticed a person on the street who immediately caught his attention. His figure seemed frozen in place. His leg was extended forward, his body was leaning, his face remained motionless, and even the bag in his hand wasn't swinging. Seconds passed, but nothing changed. Cars were driving by, the street was going about its business, and the man seemed frozen in the middle of the sidewalk, as if time had stopped only at the point around him. Perhaps we are witnessing a displacement in time, when a person is already in another dimension, and we see only an imprint, an image of the last moment when he left our reality. And here, we have an answer. If people are thrown through time, they should suddenly appear somewhere in an unsuitable place. A street surveillance camera recorded a man who was calmly walking along the road and noticed nothing unusual on his way. Then, unexpectedly, a lying girl appeared in the snow on the street right under his feet. She was dressed inappropriately for the weather. The man instantly reacted to the obstacle when the figure appeared next to him. It all happened too quickly to call the video a computer trick. Who knows, maybe the camera captured something it wasn't supposed to see? On a relatively quiet street in Vietnam, something happened to the lighting. The light along the road began to flicker very quickly and brightly, not due to electrical problems, but in some special rhythm. The person who captured this flickering on camera remained motionless, but at some point it seemed to him that what was happening was repeating. He had the feeling that the same moment was stuck in a loop. The impression of abnormally flowing time kept growing. Could some global glitch in time and space have occurred in this place? What do you think? Could this be exactly how time slips happen when people are transported to other eras? A woman decided to turn her yard into a playground for children and installed a trampoline there. But one day, she saw something that made her blood run cold. She looked out the window and it suddenly seemed to her that an invisible creature was jumping on the trampoline. The surface was mysteriously lowering and rising, as if a ghost was bouncing on it. This paranormal phenomenon continued for more than 3 hours. The homeowner was so shocked and frightened by what she saw that she decided to remove the trampoline. What do you think? Was it the wind, excessive suspiciousness, or otherworldly interference? And again, invisible beings on the swings. A man and his wife were driving home on a windless evening. They were passing by Cheeseman Park in Denver when they stumbled upon something eerie. Empty swings in the night park were swinging by themselves, as if a ghost was sitting on them. Frightened, the man stepped on the gas and drove away. But to their horror, further on they saw other swings that were also swinging back and forth in complete silence. They captured this moment on video, but no one could help them explain this eerie phenomenon. In every city, there's a place with a bad reputation. In this town, no one dares to pass by the outdoor gym after dark because at night it comes alive. Every evening, the exercise machines start moving by themselves. Local residents say it begins right after 10 o'clock in the evening, and it creates the impression that invisible bodies are using the equipment. Those who did decide to pass by this place late in the evening heard strange voices. But even more disturbing is that in the neighboring park, witnesses observed empty swings, swinging as if someone invisible was sitting on them. And wouldn't you be afraid to go there and find out? Cemeteries and hospitals are the most frequent places attributed with poltergeist phenomena. In China, there's a hospital where every working day turns into a nightmare for the staff. This bad place is located in the city of Nanning, and the nurses claim that they constantly encounter ghosts. Judge for yourself. Every day, water taps turn on by themselves, patients see things that others do not see, and sometimes digital scales light up even when no one is standing on them. But the most terrible thing happened on the 20th of March, 2024. 2 nurses ran down the corridor in horror, looking back as if something was chasing them. They were so frightened that one of them tripped and fell. Even scarier is that the tables with equipment also moved by themselves. Later, the nurses said they saw what was pursuing them. They were translucent figures, but the cameras did not capture them. The most alarming thing is that these facts are only a few of the inexplicable phenomena they have encountered. Probably, this hospital has some old, blood-curdling history. The story of this wedding salon in the city of Chihuahua is known to everyone in Mexico. In its window for more than 80 years, there has been a mannequin of a bride in a wedding dress who is called La Pasqualita. It has been on display since the 25th of March, 1930, and still attracts tourists from all over the world, not only for its beauty, but also for its frightening realism. The smallest details of the face and hands look alive. And here, in these shots taken by one of the tourists, we see as if the mannequin's eyelashes trembled slightly, and its gaze suddenly focused. Are you feeling creeped out too? No wonder, because local legend has it that this is not a mannequin, but the embalmed body of the former owner's daughter. The girl died from a spider bite on her wedding day. Yes, now you understand where the plot of Corpse Bride came from. That's Hall, Mexico. This video from the Vatican gave eyewitnesses goosebumps. A crowd of tourists gathered in the square in front of the cathedral when suddenly the viewer's attention was drawn to a silhouette on the upper gallery. There stood a tall, dark figure, wrapped in long black robes. Its appearance was eerie and resembled the personification of death, silently watching those below. People in the crowd watched it with bated breath and whispered among themselves. But the figure did not move or disappear. Some believe it could have been a thematic installation. I think in the Vatican, no one would joke with such a performance for sure. Discussions continue, but the video recording conveys an otherworldly presence so frighteningly that viewers cannot look away, as if chained to this terrifying character. If dark, sinister figures appear somewhere, then their antipodes must exist as well. In a small chapel, something unexpected appeared on a surveillance camera recording. During a crowded religious ceremony, the faithful bowed their heads in prayer. Suddenly among them, a barely noticeable, translucent light figure appeared. It sat quietly behind the others. Unlike other people, it had no shadow, and it remained unnoticed. No one looked back at the strange, misty silhouette. The figure did not move or react to what was happening. It simply was present there for some time. Someone hypothesized that it was the spirit of a recently deceased parishioner who returned to prayer, or someone's guardian angel watching over the crowd. In any case, the video shows that among us, in various places, certain entities appear that may either haunt or protect the living. Miraculous phenomena in places of worship of higher powers are more of a regularity than an exception. The low quality of this video is unlikely to be convincing proof that Jesus actually exists. It will rather give skeptics additional arguments. But let's see what happened in the cathedral. I will add that the person who filmed the video insisted on its authenticity. At first, he himself didn't believe it either. So, he is filming a statue of Christ when suddenly the statue slowly raised its eyelids, and for a moment it seemed that it was looking directly at him. A moment later, the statue returned to a state of rest, but this small movement was enough to understand that something unusual had happened. The video sparked much debate online, and perhaps some of those who previously stood on the side of skepticism were visited by doubts, and those who believe that Jesus can give us signs became even more strengthened in their convictions. Well, whether it's a miracle or advanced mechanics of ancient masters, if it helps someone, then why reject it? One afternoon, while a traveler was filming the altar in a cathedral, something unusual happened there. The statue of Jesus remained almost motionless, but suddenly, its eyes came to life and moved. A second later, the statue's lips also began to move, as if uttering some message. Then the statue just as quickly froze, motionless. Those who saw the recording were amazed. Some interpreted the event as a sign of the imminent second coming of Christ, while others threw up their hands in ignorance. This video attracted a lot of attention. Firstly, it's hard to explain. What do you think? Was this movement performed by some medieval mechanisms inside the statue, or by the hands of a skilled visual effects artist? At a church service, a priest was reading prayers, and parishioners were quietly filming what was happening on their phones. At first, everything looked normal, but when viewing the recording, People noticed how the statue of Jesus was slowly lowering its arms. The movement was slow and looked intentional, as if they were receiving a blessing. The video quality is, of course, not the best, but clear enough to understand that the statue's hands were shifting relative to the angle behind it. For those who witnessed this moment, the phenomenon was an unusual and powerful sign. Many of them admitted that they felt a divine presence. During a religious performance, several statues of saints were placed on the stage. Naturally, they were supposed to be completely motionless, but one figure suddenly behaved differently. The statue slowly turned its head, and this movement was distinct enough for the audience to notice it. People in the crowd were stunned and asked questions. After the performance, theater staff confirmed that the statue was carved from a single piece of wood. There were no wires or mechanisms inside. Its movement remained inexplicable. Even if you didn't believe in anything, such incidents leave our minds in a state of suspension. After all, everything was captured on camera, and denying the movement is impossible. Not just one person saw it, but hundreds. We all understand that neural networks can do all sorts of things now, but let's take into account that all these stories were recorded relatively long ago. And back then, there wasn't the possibility to alter video drastically. This mysterious moment occurred in 2016 during a busy Catholic festival in Mexico. The statue of Jesus, which was being carried through the streets during the parade, seemed to come to life. The crowd suddenly froze in amazement. People noticed how the statue's head began to turn from side to side, and the figure blinked, as if surveying the crowd. The moment was brief, but clear enough for many to realize its reality. Moreover, it all happened during a festive celebration. This cannot be dismissed. Surely the event made many people think about what else interesting might happen, regardless of whether we believe in God or not. This old video captures a prayer service in a small, unknown chapel. A visitor focused the camera on a statue of the Virgin Mary. At first, everything seemed normal, but then the statue's eyelids gradually began to open, and for a while, its eyes opened fully and seemed to look directly into the camera. This lasted for a few seconds, after which the eyelids gently closed again. But even a few moments were enough to be sure that something extraordinary was happening. Has anything like this ever happened to you? Write about it in the comments below. This happened in Paraguay. A woman was home alone when she heard a quiet whisper. She followed the sound and realized it was coming from the altar of the Virgin Mary that her family venerated. A small statuette was placed in the house. When she grabbed her phone to record a video, she saw the statue's mouth moving. It was opening as if it were speaking. But the movement stopped exactly at the moment she got closer, as if the figure was signaling her to keep her distance. This incident shocked her to the core. She tried to capture at least part of the miraculous phenomenon on video. Yes, it seems impossible and even absurd, but as you can see, for someone it becomes completely real. Do you think the woman could have been hallucinating, or do you also discern something strange in the video? This fantastic episode was filmed in California, near the Sierra Nevada range. On the 22nd of August, 2025, something amazing appeared in the clouds above the small town of Bishop. A local resident, looking up, saw some cloud formation and couldn't believe his eyes. It was a real Jesus. The silhouette was so clear and the figure's pose so perfect that people were truly amazed. Even the necessary detail was present. Around his head was a halo that glowed softly in the sunset sky. The clouds themselves formed into a mysterious image woven in the sky. How can one simply call it an atmospheric anomaly? Maybe it really is a coincidence, a play of light and wind, or maybe it's something impossible to explain. In any case, this magical moment turned an ordinary day into something unforgettable. The clip begins with someone casually filming the sky, but what appears in the clouds amazes everyone. This luminous image resembles a humanoid figure that seems to be standing at full height. The story caused a real stir on the internet. People argued whether it was just an illusion of light or something meaningful, some kind of projection, or perhaps someone watching us from above. This happened in the town of Fairfax, Virginia. A woman was approaching her home late in the evening and for a moment looked up at the sky. What she saw left her speechless. Above an ordinary residential street in the darkness, a mysterious formation of light and shadow was visible. 3 straight lines stretched across the sky, with the central line being wider than the others. From the ground, it looked like a floating path. Who knows? Maybe it was a portal opened by someone on purpose. A surveillance camera at a quiet office building captured something unreal. A glowing sphere appeared in the premises. It gradually became very bright and pulsating, as if keeping its own rhythm. The sphere glided silently through the rooms, observing something, then suddenly left the frame and disappeared. After a few seconds, the sphere returned and continued to study the space from a different angle. It looked exactly as objects of extraterrestrial origin are described, as if they appear from another dimension. Even the atmosphere around them seems different. Scientists send human-made technologies beyond Earth's orbit. Why not assume that the inhabitants of other planets are doing the same? For example, last year the sky over New Jersey was suddenly illuminated by a mysterious light. Late at night, a bright blue flashing light filled the entire sky. The strangest thing was that soon, many glowing spheres appeared within sight, so many that it was difficult to count them. The most amazing thing is that these objects were not falling meteorites. The spheres did not move, they froze in place like a freeze frame, and no one could find an explanation for this. In 2018, residents of the capital of Jordan, Amman, observed an unusual creature hovering high in the sky. At first, the object looked unreal, but when the video author zoomed in, it became clearer. It had a round shape like a jellyfish, and tentacle-like appendages extended from the dome. Even its movements resembled the contractions of a jellyfish in water. But where would one come from in the sky? Maybe it was an alien spaceship or some extraterrestrial creature that came to spy on us. A pilot recorded one of the clearest UFO sightings in recent times. During a flight above the clouds in Colombia, he noticed an unusual object gliding across the sky. It wasn't darting about, didn't look like debris or a conventional airplane, and moved smoothly. But here's the problem. Its shape didn't resemble any aircraft we know. The pilot filmed this, and after the recording hit the internet, people couldn't tear themselves away from each frame. Still, we cannot say for sure what kind of object it was. Near a busy cafe, people suddenly noticed something strange hovering in the air. It was moving like an airplane or a drone. It was a silent flying object with tiny lights flickering on it, faintly glowing against the evening sky. After a few seconds, everyone took out their phones and began recording the mysterious spectacle, which seemed unreal, but at the same time turned out to be true, because we are seeing it too. It's an ordinary flying saucer, isn't it? Viewers in a cinema were watching the screen when suddenly something astonishing appeared between the seats. A radiant figure materialized there. Its light was unbearably bright, and its appearance was out of place. Some froze in horror, others stared at it, and someone took out a phone and recorded it on video. The recording suddenly cut off, so we never found out what happened next, who or what it was, and why the figure appeared. Nevertheless, it left an indelible impression and probably haunted the dreams of everyone who saw it that day. 3 years ago, people witnessed unusual behavior on a subway train. They were shocked to see a woman hanging from the train's handrail, holding on with her hair. Her entire body weight was suspended, held only by her hair tied to the handrail. From a distance, it looked like sorcery, and when subway employees approached to ask what she was doing, the woman introduced herself as Dorina, saying she was an acrobat, and she was using public transport to rehearse her circus act. known as hair hanging. She had been training for several months for her performance at the Shanghai circus, and although the stunt looked risky, her composure and confidence amazed many. Apparently, she needed an audience, which is why she went to rehearse in the city. In this video, two women are hanging upside down, walking on the ceiling. It seems like a perfect hoax. The video author mentioned in the description that they are his sisters, who are interested in practicing magic, and they asked their brother to film their antics. However, there are moments here that do not align with the laws of physics. If someone possesses the art of walking on the ceiling, why didn't their dresses turn upside down? Logically, they should have fallen down. What do you think is really happening? Is it a fake room or some other trick? Write in the comments which of the moments frightened or amazed you the most, and subscribe to Top Facts for the most incredible collections of facts and videos from all over the internet. Thanks for watching, and right now, click on one of our previous episodes that have already appeared on your screen.